Broadcast Row for the now generation. And now a special presentation from Broadcast Row. Broadcasting live from the greatest city in the world. Wake up. It's time, people, for your morning online gathering. Hosted by Mardel. It's the Wrestling Morning Show. And it starts now.
Sierra Hotel, India, Echo, Lima, Delta, Shield.
And that is the highlight from last night. Welcome to the Wrestling Morning Show. It is 9:05 Eastern Standard Time. That's what everyone's talking about right now. The Shield. Last night, in a very special place of Indianapolis, Indiana, where the Shield debuted, where they broke up, and now where they're reunited. This was a hot crowd. Indianapolis, my hat's off to you. You guys were awesome last night, pretty much from the start till the very end. It was all about the Shield. All three men officially coming back together. Now, granted, we kind of knew that because the WWE promoted the fact there was a brand new shirt. So the shirt came out before the actual Shield reunion, and everybody online was talking about it. I tell you what, it was a pretty solid Monday Night Raw. A lot of things happened last night. Obviously, the Shield is the big story coming into this morning. Kalisto is the new Cruiserweight champion. He put an end to the Enzo Era. Sister Abigale, we're getting more information on it. We really had no idea what was going on, but we kind of touched upon it last night. We'll get more into that. Mickie James gives an unbelievable promo and a whole lot more we're going to discuss on this morning's show. The number is 844-627-3352. That's 844-627-3352. Follow us on Twitter at Live Morning Show. We stream live on the Wrestling Morning Show on Facebook. Any questions, any comments, go to thewrestlingmorningshow.com. Last night, it kicks off with the return of the Mizzies, Part 2. Let's go ahead and refresh in your memory from 12 hours ago.
Monday Night Raw shook the very foundation of WWE because last week...
This is how Raw opened last night. This is courtesy of USA Network, WWE, and Universal. Miz is in the ring, and of course, he alludes to Bo Dallas being a little under the weather. He's got Curtis Axel in the ring. Let's take a listen.
Where credit is due, and the Miztourage is real family. And when you attacked one of us, you attack all of us. That is why the first Mizzy of the night is very special. It goes to a superstar who has demonstrated absolute perseverance in the face of adversity. Drum roll, please. The winner of the Mizzy for perseverance is Curtis Axel!
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I dedicate this Mizzy to Bo Dallas. This is for you, Bo.
Bo, we're thinking of you. Get well soon, my brother, my family, and everybody is right. He does deserve it. One of the most talented superstars in all the roster. Let's move on to the next Mizzy for Best Supporting Actor. And I gotta tell you, last week was one of the greatest nights of my life. I mean, it was a masterpiece. I dub it the destruction of Roman Reigns. Drum roll, please. Oh my God, lightning does strike twice. Ladies and gentlemen, for the second time in Mizzy's history, we have a tie! So without further ado, the best supporting actors are Sheamus and Cesaro!
I cannot say I'm surprised with that choice by The Miz after what Sheamus and Cesaro did to Roman Reigns last week.
It was a unanimous decision, Cole. I understand that the destruction of Roman Reigns is currently being adapted into a screenplay.
From what we understand, Bo Dallas of the Miztourage is under the weather tonight, although I bet it has something to do with the attack by Roman Reigns last week.
Entirely possible. I always enjoy the Mizzies. I wonder who else is going to get an award, Cole. You have any inside scoops?
Well, you got your two best supporting actors here for the, quote, destruction of Roman Reigns. And it was quite the performance last week by both Sheamus and Cesaro. After Braun Strowman took out Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, Sheamus and Cesaro guys came down and
these two are proud of their Mizzy.
Thank you all very much. I really appreciate it. We really appreciate it. You know, Miz, thank you. I mean, what an honor. What an absolute honor. You know, last week, we brought the bar to new heights. We proved that we can go anywhere. We can go to the stratosphere. We can go to the ionosphere. We can go anywhere. And right now, I'd like to thank the man who made it all possible. I would like to thank Roman Reigns. Roman, watching you lying there in the ring, struggling to get up, gasping for air, I just wanted to beat you down even more. So Roman, you made all this possible. So right now I want to say, yo Roman, we did it!
Wait, Sheamus. I think you forgot somebody. We couldn't have done it ourselves. So at this point, I would like to thank Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. Seth, Dean, without you guys knocking my teeth out my jaw, we probably wouldn't have another good reason to put you back in your place and prove once again that we don't just set the bar, we are the bar!
And listen, we've seen the footage, we've heard the buzz on social media, and let me just come out and say that Seth, Dean, Roman, you can look and stare at each other all you want, and everyone here can fantasize about the three of them coming together and reuniting the Shield. But that's not reality. The Shield was great in their time. Hell, they were revolutionary, but they don't want any of this. Listen, I saw the looks of Dean and Seth and Roman and that they shared, and it said, our time has passed us by. There is a greater revolutionary force standing in this ring. Because together, we have changed the landscape of WWE. We have done something that Brock Lesnar, Undertaker, and John Cena could never do. We put an end to Roman Reigns. Sometimes hard work really does pay off, and sometimes, just sometimes, the good guys really do win. Which brings me to my final Mizzy, and it goes to the guy who led the charge, not once, but twice, and is, without a shadow of a doubt, has proven to be the big dog of the WWE, and his name is not Roman Reigns. Drum roll, please.
We like him. We really like him.
Who?
The Miz.
What a surprise.
This is a well-deserved award. Despite the fact that Miz gave it to himself, it's still well-deserved.
That's nice.
And I want to dedicate this Mizzy to my unborn child and to every future child out there that needs a new role model.
We got a little long-winded with the Miz's this time around, but it proved beneficial because we brought the Bar out. We kind of showed the alliance between the Miz and the Bar. Here's Roman Reigns, and of course, you guys know what comes next, unless you missed it. And of course, you're listening to the program to catch up from last night. We'll continue to take a listen right here on the Wrestling Morning Show.
Timing's never been much of a strong suit for Roman Reigns. The Miz was about to continue his acceptance speech. He was dedicating the Mizzy to his unborn child.
Well, look who it is, the quote-unquote big dog, standing all the way up there with your tail between your legs.
See, Miz, this is where you shut up now. I'm not here to play any games. I'm gonna give y'all one chance to get up out my ring.
Whoa, 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 whoa. You're gonna stand up there by yourself talking like a tough guy? I thought the whole mantra of Roman Reigns is talk is cheap. Roman Reigns is all about action. But you know damn well that you are going to do nothing because there is 4 of us and only 1 of you. So maybe when my hand goes up, your mouth goes shut. So, Roman, why don't you go back in the locker room and get Dean and Seth? Because by the looks of it, the rumors of the Shield reuniting are exactly what you are. Nothing but hype.
Rumors? Who said anything about rumors?
And there you go. In a matter of seconds, Roman is a massive face. Here comes Dino. They lower the music, and they wait.
And the architect, Seth Rollins.
This is surreal.
So as we know, unless they actually show the fists, it does not become official. Now, granted, I just told you earlier in the program that, of course, the t-shirt was already out on the website. So we knew this was going to happen.
But I guarantee you they never expected this. It is rocking in Indy.
The entire arena is on their feet.
And I have a feeling the boys want to...
I mean, this place was rocking. Indy really brought the thunder last night, so big shout out to the fans, everybody was there.
Reigns storming down to the ring.
Yeah, but Ambrose, Rollins, and Reigns are still outnumbered. But the Ambrose, Rollins, and Reigns are circling just like they used to.
Stalking.
Here comes Rollins, Ambrose, and Roman Reigns.
So for some of the people who listen to the program, obviously, just to get a recap from last night, and if some of you obviously have already fast-forward this show on demand, but just to paint a picture for you if you happened not to see last night, in true Shield fashion, three-sided entrance, and of course all the fixings for their finishing moves. Now they capped it off with a Shield powerbomb to The Miz, who's actually the last one who was outside. We'll quickly cut to where all three men finally align their fists and give you the reaction from the crowd.
The Intercontinental Champion, Cesaro, Sheamus, and Axel have been laid out. What a moment. I don't think they're done yet, guys.
No, we're going to see it.
Are we going to see it? A little payback. That's what it's all about.
What an exclamation point.
The wrath of Rollins, Ambrose, and Reigns.
2.0. There are no more rumors. Gentlemen, release the hounds.
Can't speak about the unity anymore as far as the Shield goes, guys.
The Shield has been reunited.
The Shield is standing tall.
You know, as we mentioned, the entire show was all about the Shield. As it should be, it was fun, it was entertaining. We're going to get into a moment where we're going to talk about why now. Why now has the Shield come back together and reunited? If you got thoughts, call 844-627-3352, or you can text the same number, 844-627-3352. And, of course, you could chime in on Twitter, the live morning show. So a couple other series events that have the Shield intertwined. Now, one would be, obviously, there was a match with Braun and Matt Hardy, and Matt Hardy looked very good. This was the third match of the night. He did a twist of fate and actually got Braun to the ground. But it was like literally not even a one count. Braun kicked out in his brute force that he has. And then Braun gets him in a running slam. It's over. Okay, so then he kind of drags Matt Hardy to the top. But then the next thing you know, here comes the Shield. They beat up Braun Strowman, put him through a table in the Shield bomb. Crowd's just loving this. So, of course, they're backstage. Let's go ahead and take a listen as they get interviewed backstage, and they say something that kind of gives the Miz an idea. Let's refresh in your memory.
Absolutely.
Well, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, man. That's good. That felt real good. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. That's a real nice feeling.
Gentlemen, excuse me. Seth, Roman, Dean, the three of you have just reunited.
Charles, I gotta cut you off because we are back, and we are stronger than ever.
We're gonna do what we do best, which is destroy everything in our path, walk over our enemies, whether it's 3 guys, 4 guys, 5 guys, 6 guys, whatever.
What he's trying to say is, we'll take on the whole world if we have to. And if you want to step up, you need to know this. We are the 3 workhorses that run this business now.
And you can believe that.
Well, guys, pump the brakes for just a moment, because first up, it's TLC. 2 weeks, Minneapolis, all on the WWE.
Okay, so there you go. They're the guys who kind of run the business. And he's kind of telling the truth. The workhorses, as he would say. Now, having that idea, now we have the Miz backstage. His entire storyline has been going on for 2 hours. He talks to Kurt Angle.
TLC is going to be incredible. Yeah. Kurt, I'll call you back. I am not calling off the match at TLC.
On the contrary, Sheamus, Cesaro, and I would love nothing more than to face the Shield. As long as you make them stand by their word.
What are you talking about?
What do you mean what I'm talking about? Dean Ambrose said that they can take on any 4 or 5 or 6, so I'm going to find another partner.
I don't know if you can...
Words matter. You're a man of your words, right? Yeah. What is it, the 3 eyes? One of them is integrity. Shouldn't Dean Ambrose have integrity too?
All right, you can find another partner.
You know, Dean Ambrose brought this on himself and the rest of the Shield. Because I found my 4th partner.
Yeah, who is it?
Oh, he's right here.
Braun kicks the door open, and it's Braun Strowman. So what was intended to be the Shield versus Miz, Cesaro, and Sheamus is now Braun, the Miz, Cesaro, and Sheamus 4-on-3 handicap at TLC. So they're adding more layers into this entire thing, and it's pretty awesome. So already they're making an impact, and they popped up 3 or 4 times throughout the show. Every single time the crowd was into it. Every single time I was watching, I was into it as well. So immediately as the Raw goes off the air, WWE posts on Twitter, next week, Roman Reigns will take on Braun Strowman in a locked steel cage. It should be exciting. These two guys, they got chemistry together. We saw it all summer long, so I'm very excited about that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and to shed more light on things, it's one of my favorite segments. He's calling in early right now. It's time for the Code Break.
It's the Code Break with Brent Coder.
Good morning, Coder. How are you, buddy?
What's up, Mardel? How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing okay. Last night, let's get right into it. The only storyline that really mattered was the Shield reunion. We've talked about this for the last couple of weeks. Unless those fists come together, it was just a tease. And not only did they tease for a couple of weeks, but we didn't know if it was really going to happen. You know when I knew it was going to happen? When the WWE put the brand new Shield t-shirt online about 45 minutes before Raw actually was on television, and people were actually tweeting about it. So yeah. And then lo and behold, after they get together, they wear the brand new t-shirts. It's amazing. But let's get right into it. It finally happened. Hats off. I've talked about it earlier in the program. Indianapolis was awesome last night. It was a hot crowd, and they finally came together. And not only did they come together, but they dominated the entire show. Your thoughts right off the bat about the electricity inside Indianapolis and the Shield coming together?
Well, the fans were ready tonight. They saw it coming from a mile away, and I think everybody expected to see the reunion tonight, so they got what they paid for. And I was going to mention how they came out in the shirts and everything. I didn't realize they had actually posted it online before it happened, but clearly they had the shirts made well in advance. So this is something that's been planned for a while. And, we've been talking about it all summer with all 3 guys being faces and on the same roster now. It was only a matter of time. My thing is why do we have this passing of the torch to Reigns if we're just going to throw him back in the Shield? It seems like he should be on like some kind of epic singles run. In my mind, after getting handed the torch from Cena, it's like, Big E goes on an epic singles run, wins the championship, and then gets thrown back in the New Day. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me why they would go with this angle right here. I mean, I understand like things are kind of slowed down a little bit with football and new season premieres and everything going on. So this is a good hype moment for Raw and to draw fans in. So I certainly understand what they're doing, but the timing of it seems just a bit off to me. I actually expected to see it earlier this summer, but happy for all the Shield fans tonight. I know there's a lot of people excited to see them finally get back together, although it's been kind of a slow burn to get there.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's been the big question we're trying to talk about here on the show today. Why now? Why are they together now? I think it was a reality check for them for the last 4 or 5 weeks. People are not tuning into the pay-per-views like they should be. They're not tuning into Monday Night Raw or SmackDown like they should be. There's a whole bunch of brand new shows. This happens all the time. But in the past, the product's been a lot better. There also is not a lot of distractions. Obviously, the world is suffering. The United States, all these different elements that kind of go in, not only with the shootings and the crime and the natural disasters, there's also problems around the world. There's unrest politically. And we're not going to take the show that deep, but there are a lot of things that a lot of viewers, really they're focused on other things. And more importantly, they'll still watch, but they may not watch live. So there's so many elements. And of course, the big one is Monday Night Football. And they also got Dancing with the Stars to compete against. And not to mention the 150 shows on Netflix that people watch now. This is something they never had to deal with everything going around the country, the world, in social media, on television, in sports. Why not now? And this is probably a situation where they had to do it. Now, granted, it fell right in the line in the place of Indianapolis where the Shield first debuted, where they also broke up, and now it's a reunion. It's quite poetic, Mr. Coder. But you're right about Roman Reigns. He got the torch passed to him, but of course they add him to the Shield, and in a matter of a snap of a finger, he becomes a full-blown face. That polarizing figure that people hated and people loved, they kind of forgave him overnight. And now it's the Shield, as they should be. All 3 men are main eventers. Now what they're doing, they're going up against one of the best guys ever on the microphone, in Mike Mizanin, who had a birthday 2 days ago. Happy birthday, Miz. He's going up against the destructive force of Braun Strowman and 2 great wrestlers like Cesaro and Sheamus. So the time, sadly enough, is now. They need ratings. November sweeps are just around the corner. They're trying to sell TLC that does not have the Universal Champion in that picture. So the time is right now simply for a business aspect. And I can only imagine that new Shield shirt becomes probably the #1 T-shirt in a span of a week or less than that. Do you think the impact is...
Yeah, if not tonight.
Yeah, it might even be tonight. Do you think the reason it happened was simply because of what we kind of just stated, ratings, everything going around the world, or is this the best wrestling decision to have these 3 guys together? Because really, they're not elevating anybody. Cesaro and Sheamus are established. Miz is established. Is this simply purely a conscious decision to get more eyes on television? As well, it is entertainment. But do you think, what is the basis behind this reunion?
I think, for all the reasons you outlined, there's a lot going on, and there's a lot competing for attention right now, between political and environmental things and everything else going on in the world, plus new shows, plus football, the sports starting up. You got baseball playoffs. So it's certainly a great marketing ploy to bring them back now to get some eyeballs on their product. I get it. It just seems weird that we had the whole build up to Reigns and the torch passing and for it to happen now. So maybe it was more of the lead into what ultimately came to fruition, which is this reunion. But, it makes sense for those reasons, for marketing reasons. But from a storyline perspective, I'm not sure that it does. And that was kind of my point.
Well, I think one thing, a tone they've been taking, and it started over the summer. It started, I love to use this as kind of a reference point, but with Jinder Mahal, we'll worry about the future later. And I think that's the same thing that's going on with these 3. Also, it's not a sure bet that these 3 guys will get past the first of the year together. There could easily be a heel turn. When you have 3 of the most popular wrestlers right now on Raw, and they're really aligned together. They are back as being a faction. At some point, someone's going to break off and cause problems or go their individual way. Not to mention, we still have to see the return of Samoa Joe. Where does any of these men that I've just mentioned, do they fall in line to face Brock Lesnar at TLC? So, sorry, not TLC, but Survivor Series. Because at TLC, there would not be a universal title defense. So they're going to have about another 6 to 7 weeks to build for Survivor Series. And of course, if they do a true Survivor Series, it's a group faction. But they really haven't stayed that course. And I think this is just a one-off with Braun and the Miztourage, Cesaro, and Sheamus, because I'm hoping that Braun will go up against Brock one more time.
Right. Don't forget, we've also got Starrcade and War Games, where
right.
any number of things could happen, or while this grouping could make sense for something like a War Games or Starrcade type of scenario. So, we've got multiple in the next 30 days. I think we've got 4 pay-per-views, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of pay-per-views now. Obviously, network events, so that's going to be exciting for it, especially when they're going to have Starrcade in Greensboro, North Carolina, and Charlotte will be there, and that's going to be awesome. So I think all eyes will be on that, and I'm excited for it. There's a lot of great wrestling coming up. Anything they could draw attention to the network is awesome, and more importantly, hopefully this just coincides with just a better storyline for Raw and SmackDown. So before you go, even though we have a lot of things to talk about, and I know you have a short time, we're going to end it with probably talking about Sami Zayn for a second, as we've kind of had a couple days to digest. Okay, so that kind of sets up everything. Now, obviously, Braun came into the picture, him and Matt Hardy. That was the third match of the night, and they go and they attack Braun, and that kind of sparks the entire alignment with The Miz, because originally, as it was stated, for TLC was the Shield versus Cesaro, Sheamus, and The Miz. Now Braun is added to it. It's a 4-on-3 handicap, and they're going to bring down the house with this right now. So far, only 3 matches, and they are 12 days away. Alexa, Mickey, and then Asuka versus Emma. So really, they have 2 female matches lined up, and then this massive 4-on-3 handicap that should be the main event without a doubt. All right, let's switch gears for a second. The end of the Enzo era took place. Were you surprised at all that he dropped it on Monday Night Raw?
I was. I was surprised to see it in the main event. It seems like it's been the case the last few weeks here where we've had the cruiserweights in the main event. I guess good for their division, but another big surprise to see that at the end of the show. Yeah, I was a bit surprised. I really thought Enzo was going to go on a run with it. I think he's done a lot for that division in just a short amount of time. I think a lot more people are paying attention to what's going on in that division. At least I have. I'm not a huge Enzo fan or anything, but he has certainly drawn more attention than it's gotten. I like the way this kind of storyline played out with the lumberjack match, and obviously he pissed off a lot of people last week with his rant in the ring against pretty much all the cruiserweights. So they got to exact revenge tonight, and obviously Kalisto gets the win. I'm a Kalisto fan, so I thought that was pretty cool, but certainly unexpected.
Where does Enzo go from here?
Man, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure he'll get, a title shot and be in the title picture for a while in the cruiserweight division. So, he has a little bit of a rivalry with Mustafa, which could play out, made fun of him the week before and then got in his face tonight, clotheslined him outside of the ring. He could go into a feud there, but most likely we'll get a rematch at some point when, probably at TLC.
Well, I hate to admit this, even though I've joked about the Enzo era being over, I was more interested in the cruiserweights because of him and the fact that I've had so much fatigue over the summer with Enzo. Obviously came to the end when Big Cass. Now Big Cass is hurt, so then they put him in the cruiserweight division, which I think possibly was going to happen anyway because that feud between him and Big Cass were over, and it gives them the ability to bring some attention to that division. They've also honored that division on a segment that's always been relegated for the most important thing, but because they're dealing with TV ratings, that 15 minutes to the top of the last hour, that 20 minutes to the last hour, it's not as special as it once was. As you remember, we were watching the Attitude Era, and you knew without a doubt to compete WWF versus WCW, those final 10, 15 minutes, that was the show. That in the opening, of course. Moving over to something that we all popped about, me and you, and we loved it last week. This week, I had an eerie feeling that maybe they would screw this up. I even referenced that this could be like a House of Horrors, which I felt bombed. And somebody replied on Twitter saying they were there. It was awesome. Well, on TV, it wasn't. So, Sister Abigale, not really sure what it is. I'm hoping that Bray does not come out and drag. That would ruin everything for us. It seems like it's it seems like it's a spirit, it's a voice. We really don't know. I'm sure next week we'll know. Maybe it appears in somehow, some way at TLC. But give me your thoughts about now the second week that we know that Sister Abigail is alive. Go ahead.
Man, I mean, it's made me more excited about Bray's character than I've been in a while. This added layer with Sister Abigail being alive. Obviously, she survived, Randy Orton setting the place on fire, I guess, months ago. But I think it's cool. I was a little, I'm like you, man. I was a little weirded out with the whole, like, especially with the voice, like, layering of Bray's voice with a female voice kind of freaked me out a little bit. But I think it's cool, and I'm interested to see where it goes. I was really hoping that Sister Abigail was going to be a new character that would potentially align with Bray. I think that would be cool to see, but it's looking more and more like this is just maybe they're the same person, and this is like her soul's trapped inside them. I mean, I don't even really know, man. It's kind of wild, but I think it's cool.
Right. I think they're going to try some sort of antics the same way they did House of Horrors. I don't know. I mean, normally I would have an opinion, or I would think. I was hoping it'd be a new character. Somebody actually was talking about this on Twitter, and they're like, well, it has to be somebody that nobody knows about. Kind of referencing the fact it can't be a NXT call-up. And I wanted to respond, but I was busy at the time. I mean, you got to remember, Bray was Husky Harris. He was an original member of the Nexus. So, I mean, come on. Now, granted, he took some time off, grew a beard, grew his hair out. Still was husky. I would like to see.
I'm seeing a lot of rumors of Paige, actually.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know why people are saying that, but
I don't.
Certainly that would be wild. She's due to come back at some point, and maybe she's been taken under his spell and like possessed with Sister Abigail's soul. There's all kinds of crazy theories out there, and that's kind of why I like this. Is like you don't know where it's going, and I'm really interested in the underlying storyline of like how this comes to fruition. I really hope it is another wrestler, whoever that might be, somebody we haven't seen, or somebody that's just, Bray has put the soul of Sister Abigail in. I mean, they could go a lot of different directions. We all saw it with, Kane and Undertaker growing up. They can take some wild angles with this supernatural kind of stuff. So could it be Paige? That would be wild. I think that would be kind of cool pairing to see those two aligned. But there's certainly some people throwing that around. I don't know if I'm on that train yet, but that's kind of, I mean, that would be something that would be really cool if that were to happen, or if it was some other wrestler that, he took and transformed into, Sister Abigail.
Well, yeah, I love that idea. I mean, if it's not somebody brand new that we have no idea about, if you could possess a female, to become, have the spirit of Sister Abigail, that'd be awesome. Paige now is a full-blown star. People have been waiting for her to come back. And to come back like this, I don't think is the right approach. She'd come back and be the top female on any brand, regardless. She'd go toe-to-toe with Alexa. She'd go toe-to-toe with anybody on SmackDown. I mean, she could wrestle with Asuka. So I think this would be the wrong idea. Plus, there's this anticipation for Paige to come back. And a lot of females have gravitated toward her because of some of the problems she's had in her real life. So this I don't think this is the best way for her to come back. But a haunted Paige, or a haunted female wrestler that we already know who that is, sure. But it's got to be a really good wrestler that it could be somewhat believable, I guess, in our eyes. But I'm excited for it, and I think next week is the big payoff, I hope. And we finally figure out the elements of Sister Abigail. Not to mention, I think they'll probably tease a little bit more with Sister Abigail and then come at TLC, and that's when we'll find out for sure what's going on with that. Okay, so let's move on to a couple other topics real quick. And the last one actually is going to be Sami Zayn. The entire time, after it's been about 2 days that we've kind of digested the Sami Zayn situation, I'm so pumped for SmackDown. You feel the same way?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, watching these guys' careers over the years and seeing them get back together, and I love the kind of underlying storyline that's been here where, Kevin Owens has lectured him backstage over the course of a couple weeks there, where he just made some snide comments about how he's, been winning championships while Sammy's been not doing much. And, it made sense, and now looking back, it totally makes sense. And, Sammy hasn't gotten the opportunities necessarily that Kevin's got since he's been in the WWE. So this is his way to, get back at the powers that be, align himself with Kevin. It's only going to elevate him. And these guys have built, their careers around each other. They truly are best friends, and I think we're going to get some great chemistry between them.
Yeah,
Kevin Steen and El Generico, man, what's not to love?
No, I think every fan's going to dig this. I think, first of all, Sami Zayn is phenomenal on the microphone. And lately his character's become this fast-talking Woody Allen dopey kind of figure, which I don't know what they're doing with that. But not only, we all know he could wrestle. Not to mention now he's going to be cutting promos and aligned with his best friend, a guy he's known 15-odd years. The man was the best man at his wedding. So, all right, we're going to move on from this. I'm really excited for SmackDown. So we had our post-pay-per-view show Sunday night, and these were a couple of Twitter questions I asked after we actually did our live show. So after tonight's Hell in a Cell, what is your opinion on SmackDown's brand moving forward? The options are excited, discouraged, SmackDown is better than Raw, or Raw is better than SmackDown.
I would say I'm excited. I think it's a week-to-week thing on whether Raw is better than SmackDown. There's certainly been weeks over the last few months where SmackDown has been the better show, and sometimes by far. But traditionally it is Raw. But I'm excited to see where it goes. Certainly with, I'm a huge KO fan, and I love Sammy and him aligned now. So that's definitely got me excited about the show for sure.
Well, after tonight's Hell in a Cell, your opinion on SmackDown's brand moving forward, 36% said Raw's better than SmackDown, but 32% said excited, 16% said discouraged, 16% said SmackDown is better than Raw. All right, we're going to move on now to another poll question. I was curious about this as well, because Twitter was not very heavy last night. And, Sunday night's a night not only for family, but for football and other great television shows on Sunday. Just curious, for Hell in a Cell, what was your option for viewing? Watched it live, started about 30 to 60 minutes in, watched after it finished, or I was watching it tomorrow, meaning Monday morning or afternoon? What do you think of the world said? Because I know you watched it live.
Yeah, I watch it live for the most part. I was about maybe 10 minutes behind, I think,
right.
Just because we were cooking out and whatnot. But I watch these things live generally.
Well, 54%, which I thought was kind of a low number for a pay-per-view, said they watched it live. 21% said watched it tomorrow. 14% watched it after it finished. And 11% said started 30 to 60 minutes in. Now, for a lot of people, I wonder how much the internet connection plays a huge part. It has to be a lot. Because before I started doing the show, I'm not going to lie, there's times where I would watch it 30 to 60 minutes in. I would try to watch it live all the time. There was a lot of frustration with the internet and everybody else trying to do it. But now that we live tweet during these, obviously we have to watch it live all the time. Okay, another poll question I asked last night: will a Fist of the Shield form one tonight and make it official? And obviously, it became official. And 65%. This was asked right at 7 o'clock. 65% said yes. Okay, with a night to digest, what are your thoughts about Sami Zayn? Love the heel turn. Hate he's with Kevin Owens. Hope it's a push for him. I don't really care. Those are your 4 options. What do you think the world said?
Oh, the world. Well, I love it personally.
Well,
the world probably hates it because there's a lot of Sami Zayn fans out there. So I'm going to go with the world. The world hates it, but I love it.
Well, you'd be surprised. 47% said, I hope it's a push for him. 28% said, love the heel turn. 13% hate that he's with Kevin Owens. 12%, I don't really care. It's kind of weird. I also want to give a shout out to Corey Graves last night. A couple Guns N' Roses references. Very good. Now, he said he'd rather go and dance with Mr. Brownstone, which is obviously a drug reference. I know you're trying to be cute there, Corey, but you got to be careful. But I loved the fact that he always has some great 80s and 90s references. He's gotten so good. Thoughts on Enzo continuing to main event Raw? These are your options. Makes me sick. Great heat for Enzo. Makes the cruiserweight division relevant. Fine. Better. It's fine. Better talent early. What's your opinion?
Well, I think it's done a lot for the cruiserweights, and I think that's the whole point. I think that was the point of Enzo winning the title. I think that's the point of putting him in the spotlight, and maybe they've gained a few fans in the era of Enzo that continues as they move back to mid-card status over the next few weeks. I wouldn't expect that trend to continue where we see them as the very last segment on Raw.
Okay, here's our last question. It reads, of course, tonight was about the Shield, as it should be. What was your favorite moment of Monday Night Raw? So what was your favorite moment last night? Braun aligned with Miz, Mickey and Biscuit Butt, Bray, Abigail, Finn segment, or Kalisto beats Enzo? Now, of course, can't mention the Shield. That was probably everyone's highlight. That dominated Raw. But those are 4 other options. What do you think? What's your opinion?
I like that Kalisto won. I'm a Kalisto fan, and I think he's a hell of a wrestler, a risk taker, and always puts on an entertaining match. It was great to see him back in action. So, that was definitely a highlight that was up there for me tonight. I thought they put on a pretty good match, and certainly, worthy of the spot that they got tonight. And I love the finish, especially.
Oh, the finish was awesome. Well, 33% said Kalisto beating Enzo. 30% Braun lined with Miz, 22% Mickey and Biscuit Butt, 15% Bray, Abigail, and Finn segment. Also, Neville was not part of the Lumberjacks last night, so I find that very interesting. Well, I tell you what, it's been kind of a decent Raw, to be honest with you. I enjoyed it. Would you say the same? Or you think it was just lopsided, it was all about Shield and ran its course?
Yeah, it was a pretty good show, man. I mean, it was entertaining, and I liked it. There were some unexpected things that went down, and I think the Shield was most expected. But I even enjoyed the cheesy angle where they come out in their shirts that were apparently already on sale. I was just like, wow, This is I work in marketing, so I was just like, wow, brilliant. I mean, they already those things are flying off the shelves today, and I'm sure they were last night. So I found that actually funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was a good show, and I'm certainly looking forward to SmackDown later tonight.
Okay, you could visit his website, CodeRockStreetwear.com. Follow him on Twitter at CodeRock874. Coder, thank you so much for joining us on the program today, and we're going to be excited for SmackDown and Mr. Sami Zayn. So have a good rest of your day, and we'll talk tomorrow, bro.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
Thank you so much.
It's the Code Break with Brent Coder.
I tell you what, it's always great to talk to Coder. He's on a little bit early for us, and I appreciate that. Of course, follow him at CodeRock874. That's CodeRock874. Or visit his site, CodeRockStreetwear.com. I think you should go and visit. If you like wearing unique items, that's the place to go. He only makes a handful of shirts and hats, and when he makes them, he makes them. There's no second or third order. It's kind of like a men's couture. So it's a great website. Well, I'll tell you what, this entire show's been dominated by the Shield, as it should be. We're going to talk more about the Shield. We're going to talk more and recap a little bit more about Monday Night Raw. Going to foreshadow a little bit. Of course, for SmackDown, we're all getting excited about Sami Zayn, why he did it. What does the future hold for the best friends in real life? It's the Wrestling Morning Show. We'll be right back.
Live on Broadcast Row, it's the Wrestling Morning Show.
Okay, we're back on the program. The number's 844-627-3352. That's 844-627-3352.
Live on Broadcast Row, it's the Wrestling Morning Show.
Follow us on Twitter and Live Morning Show. All information you need is on the WrestlingMorningShow.com. We're now in our next segment here. We're going to finish talking about Monday Night Raw. We had Coder, obviously, on the program a little bit earlier. When the show goes off the air, obviously, you can listen on demand. It's available on iTunes, Google Play, Spreaker, Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube, and iHeartRadio. And, of course, we always live tweet during Monday Night Raw, SmackDown Live, all pay-per-views and special events. But let's go ahead and finish out what happened on Raw last night. By the way, Jason Jordan does not get enough credit. He looks great. Looks great inside that ring. So I wouldn't call it buzz, but the whole novelty aspect of him being the son of Kurt Angle, it's kind of died down. Now we're just letting him wrestle. We've seen him wrestle some great performers. He's done a great job. He took on Carl Anderson, who's a pro's pro. Looked great. Dominated the match. He's got this nice neck breaker finish. I'm a huge fan of it. We don't really talk much about that. Then there's a small segment with the Elias and Titus. Elias and Titus. Kind of like that rhythm right there. Elias was getting a lot of heat, a lot of just heel heat, the good kind, from the crowd. So definitely on the marks. The heel fans are starting to fall in love with him. I mentioned this. If this is your first time listening to the show, I've mentioned this 100 times. That's how you build a heel. If you listen to the show all the time, you know that I've mentioned 100 times. That's how you build a heel, and they're doing a great job with him. So it's Elias versus Apollo Crews. He just looks great. Then he walks on the ropes. It's literally walking with Elias. He beats Apollo Crews, who's still a young man. He's lost in the shuffle. We thought the Titus brand would kind of be a little bit bigger and better by this point, and it really hasn't. I mean, Titus is not getting any younger, but I don't, obviously he's setting himself up possibly for the future. It's been a while since we've had a former wrestler become a manager. It's been a very, very long time. We talked about this. This is the top of the hour segment now. We're going to that 9 o'clock Eastern segment. Enzo comes out with a promo. Not a bad promo by no means. Angle comes out. And he says, you know what, we're not going to wait. We're not waiting for you versus Kalisto. We're doing it tonight. It's for the title. And then Enzo's like, okay, as long as it's the main event. Kurt says, okay, fine. Then Kurt announces that it is a lumberjack match. So that ends up becoming the main event of the night. And as you know, Kalisto goes over against Enzo. Neville, as we mentioned, was not at ringside. This is great for Neville. It's also on the 50th birthday of Eddie Guerrero. Kalisto pays tribute all the time to the Latino wrestlers, especially the ones with the lucha background. So congratulations to him, first and foremost. I tell you what, this is now going to give opportunities for all these guys to face Kalisto. And it's going to make even a bigger star for Enzo. Even if you love Enzo, you hate him. And there's been many times where I've hated him, at least over the summer, where there was so much fatigue. But he's revitalized his career. And yes, I will give him credit. He has revitalized the Cruiserweight division and 205 Live. You're fooling yourself if you don't agree with that. If you don't agree, you want to discuss it, call 844-627-3352 or send me a text. Also, one of our big questions of the day, one of the main topics, the Shield, of course, and the real reason they were united. You can obviously go onto @Live Morning Show. That's our Twitter handle, and discuss it, or you can call or text the program. We mentioned this earlier that Braun and Matt Hardy had a match. Obviously, we talked about it when they had to deal with the Shield, because the Shield came out and just beat up Braun. Put him through a table, Shield style. Interesting. We mentioned that, and of course, he is now the 4th member of Miz's team at TLC. So it's Shield versus The Miz versus Braun versus Cesaro versus Sheamus. Poor Cesaro. Man puts his body on the line and he gets his teeth kicked inside his jaw. That's major oral surgery. And if I'm willing to bet, because there has to be a slight downtime with this, it will happen right after TLC. So you're going to have to pretty much go around for the last 3 to 4 weeks with no teeth. That sucks. Having teeth pain and teeth problems are the worst. Okay, so we turn our attentions now to the women. Last night, they have an opportunity. It's a 5-way elimination, fatal 5-way, to face Asuka. And the participants are Sasha, Emma, Bayley, Alicia, and Dana. It was quick. It was to the point. And Emma won. So congratulations to Emma, the woman who started the women's revolution. But was actually kind of surprised. Dana went out first. Okay, that wasn't a surprise. But Bayley gets pinned and she's out. Crowd actually booed. They were upset. Then Alicia. Then Emma and Sasha. Emma, there you go. Congratulations to Emma. But the bigger storyline is obviously with the big star, Miss Alexa Bliss. Mickie James, phenomenal. I think she's 37, 38 years old. First of all, looks great, can still go. How many women wrestlers do we know? They're almost 40, they could still go. And more importantly, her promo work, phenomenal. Phenomenal. Her and Alexa Bliss, great chemistry. This is a great storyline. They're taking the angle of the fact that, well, Mickey's a little bit older now. And of course, Alexa Bliss is bringing that up. She's making fun of her. And that's her whole gimmick against Mickie James. Now, for the casual fans out there, they could all identify either somebody older, somebody younger. You always have that counterpart, especially when you're dealing with age in any type of situation. Let's go and refresh your memory.
You know, ever since I returned to Raw, I've had this feeling like I didn't quite belong, that the people backstage didn't quite get me, and I thought, is it my southern accent? Is it the fact that I sing country music? Is it, oh my God, is it my age? And then I finally realized I have one person to thank for feeling this way. Alexa Bliss. You see, ever since Alexa's realized that she can't manipulate someone like me, she's been running around, making her little jokes, playing her little pranks. Let's face it, she has spent every waking second trying to make some type of cheap shot at me. But not to my face, because that's not the type of champion Alexa is. Behind my back. And when she actually had a chance last week to prove me wrong, What does she do? She goes and runs and hides behind her bodyguard. And when I was 1 second away from defeating her best friend, what does she do? She attacks me from behind. So the way I see it, it's like this, Little Miss Bliss. It's time you jump up out that booster seat and put on your big girl pants. Because I don't play games, honey. I am all woman. Can you say the same? I don't think so. I have more energy in me than you have cheap hair extensions and pink hair dye. You want to call me old? Age ain't nothing but a number, baby, and the only number I care about is the number 7, because in 2 weeks at TLC, I will make history when I defeat you and become a 7-time WWE Women's Champion.
Now, speaking of the champ,
Miss Bliss comes out, and just great chemistry between these two. Let's go ahead and continue to listen.
Look, I'm not here to cause any trouble or make fun of your age. Just hear me out. I'm sorry. You know, you've been treated so unfairly for so long. Gosh, so long. And, you know, to show you how sorry I am, I've spent my entire week putting together this amazing Mickie James career retrospective. I mean, think about it, Mick. I mean, our younger fans might not even realize who you are and what you've accomplished. But I have. So, WWE Universe, I present to you a tribute to Mickie James.
WWE presents Superstars of Yesteryear. In today's edition, we look at good old Mickie James, back when she had less wrinkles than a stale raisin. A true pioneer of the women's division, debuting in the WWE circuit a very long time ago. Even back then, Mickie showed the tenacity of a much younger woman. Showcasing her abilities in the ring from well before our time, Ms. James is still one of the only senior citizens managing to perform today. And for all these reasons, we honor the not yet late, not yet great, Mickie James.
Oh, I'm sorry. Isn't it past your bedtime, Grandma? Oh, so Mickie, why don't you just go home, get some rest, play shuffleboard, you know, whatever it is old people do. Because the last scenes of that video are gonna be filmed at TLC, and I'm gonna be running circles around you. But don't worry, Mickie, I'll send you a link to the video. Actually, in your case, Mickie, I'll make you a VHS tape.
Oh, aren't we funny? I'm sorry. Maybe my age is catching up to me because I can't quite hear you. Why don't you bring that little biscuit butt down this ramp and step into this ring so I can hear exactly what you have to say?
I'm sorry. Does anybody have any extra hearing aids for Jamie batteries? I'm sorry, I didn't ask for your approval. Do you see what you did, Mickie? Do you see what you did? Fine, do you really want to do this? Fine, let's do this right now.
Here we go.
Yeah, right. That moves is just as old as you are.
Oh, look at Mickie. Mickie going after Alexa Bliss from behind. She grabs the champion. And Alexa tossed back into the ring. And look at Mickie James going after Bliss.
So these two have just great chemistry. You never know who has chemistry, but these two definitely have. I love the angle. I love the approach. Now, nothing is really official yet for TLC, but Asuka and Emma, that is for sure. Alexa Bliss and Mickie James, that's going to be for the Raw Women's Championship. And then, of course, as we mentioned already on the show, The Shield with Dean, Seth Roman, they take on not only The Miz, Cesaro and Sheamus, but, of course, Braun Strowman in a handicap match, 4-on-3 at TLC. Excited for that. Now, the other thing we talked about in the show, we're going to go back and listen to some of the audio, of course, is Finn Balor and Bray Wyatt. I'm intrigued by this. I continue to be intrigued. We talked to Coder about it earlier in the show. Who will Abigail be? What will Abigail be? Let's go ahead and take a listen to this from last night.
I think O'Coley's embraced it like no one I've seen before here in the WWE. Kid's got nerves of steel.
This is Balor Club, right here in Indianapolis. You know, last week, Bray Wyatt introduced the world to Sister Abigail. I don't even know what to say anymore, honestly. I'm speechless. Bray Wyatt is like a poison. He's like a virus that keeps mutating with more lies and more mind games, and to be honest, I don't believe it. He's desperate. He's desperate for attention. He's desperate to instill fear. He's desperate to have the WWE Universe listen to his garbage. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Bray, I am not afraid of you. We, the Balor Club, are not afraid of you. The demon is not afraid of you. So if that was Sister Abigail, then bring her on. Bring on the whole family for I care. Because at TLC, you don't have a snowball.
You may not be afraid of me, Finn. But you will be afraid of her. She was young. She was beautiful. She knew the truth, so they feared her. They turned her into some kind of monster. And I was there. When she took her final breath, she chose me. She chose me. And together, we promised that we were going to make them all burn. Now, the season of the witch is upon you. She's here.
Excuse me. You men are all the same. You just want to control everything. But Bray, Bray is different. Bray is special. But he has much to learn. From a young age, I taught him that the world is a very evil place. I taught him secrets. I taught him that darkness is so much stronger than light. And I promised him that I would always be there by his side. So here I am, scorned, scarred, and burnt to a crisp, rising from the ashes to fulfill my promise to my little prince. My sweet, innocent Bray. He wouldn't even harm a fly. But look what you did to him. You hurt him. You lied to him. So I must punish you. And your demon. I know all about demons. Call it my specialty, if you will. I can turn a demon into a pretty little dandelion. Let me give my advice to you, Finn. You can't beat me. I'm worse than anything you've ever read in your Irish mythology books. I'm worse than anything your world has ever dreamed of. My touch could have saved you, Finn. But my kiss will burn it to the ground. Run.
I'm fascinated by this entire thing. I hope you guys are too. Okay, I tell you what, it may be that time where we're going to come back and finish up our last segment of the program. The number is 844-627-3352. It's the Wrestling Morning Show. Follow us on Twitter at Live Morning Show. You know we stream live on Facebook and Twitter every time we do the show. And of course, all information is on the WrestlingMorningShow.com. We'll be right back after this. Okay, it's been a pretty decent show. I also want to thank Coda for joining us earlier than normal. We accomplish a lot. If you're just listening to the program, you can catch it obviously on demand, as this hits on demand about a good hour or so after we go off the air. One other thing I want to talk about, Mustafa Ali. What a pro. I've enjoyed him. I don't know where that gimmick's going to go. I think he bounced back and forth between a heel and a face in a span of seconds. But it was Gallagher and Kendrick. Gallagher now being this heel character. I kind of enjoy it. Gallagher, Kendrick versus Mustafa Ali and Cedric Alexander. Man, all these guys, 205. They can wrestle. Phenomenal. The characters. The gimmick. The ability to talk. That's relatively the concern I think a lot of people have. Nonetheless, that was one of the matches we didn't get to talk about. But Gallagher and Kendrick, they go over. Mustafa Ali, like I said, was phenomenal on there. Kendrick gets the sliced bread on Mustafa for the pin for that one. It's been a pretty exciting Raw. At least it went by quick. I can't say that. So if you're just joining us, I just want to recap real quick. If you're listening live, obviously if you're on demand, you probably fast forward a couple times. Raw opens up with the Mizzies. And finally it happens. The Shield reunite. They come together. They beat up Cesaro and Sheamus and The Miz. And, of course, Curtis Axel. Jason Jordan versus Carl Anderson. Jordan goes over. Then we had Elias and Apollo Crews. Elias goes over. Now, that top of the second hour segment, Enzo comes out. Angle comes out. Angle announces there's going to be a main event. Him versus Kalisto. It's for the strap. Oh, and it's a lumberjack match. As we know later on in the show, Kalisto closes the show as the new Cruiserweight champion. Braun versus Matt Hardy now. Okay. This was put together, obviously, for Braun to beat up Matt, even though Matt looked great, and actually put Braun to his knees. Shield come out. They put Braun through a table. One of my favorite segments, Mickie James. Great promo, great chemistry with her and Alexa Bliss. Really just, it's interesting now. I'm excited for this. Obviously, if you don't know, TLC, Raw Women's Championship, that will take place, Alexa versus Mickie. And the one match we just discussed, that was the fourth match of the evening, Gallagher, Kendrick, Mustafa, and Cedric. And as I mentioned again, Gallagher and Kendrick go over. Fatal 5-way elimination to face Asuka. Sasha, Emma, Bailey, Alicia, and Dana. Emma wins. Emma wins. I think it's going to be a rude awakening at the pay-per-view, but we'll see. And the closeout, Kalisto versus Enzo. It's been a pretty decent show. I appreciate everybody who had an opportunity to actually listen to the program today. I thank you guys so much for being part of the show. I also want to give a shout out to everybody on Twitter that I've been interacting with, who've been a fan of the show. It means a lot. We do it for you guys, the fans. I want to thank Coder for joining us for the Code Break. You can follow him at CodeRock874. That's CodeRock874. Everybody at Broadcast Row, the network that provides this program, thank you. Everybody here at the Wrestling Morning Show, I appreciate you guys as well. All right, it's 10:10. No, not the time, but the date. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and be good.